All right. Okay. I think we're all good here. Now, I drove down. I had a final walkthrough in Hyde Park. The condo in Hyde Park, we're closing in the morning, so we did our final walkthrough. And I'm driving down Lakeshore Drive. Everything's great. I get down to Oak Street Beach, and all the traffic starts to slow down. And, we're going like 60 miles an hour. You know how Lakeshore Drive is. And all of a sudden, it's like I go from 60 to like 30, and I'm like looking, and I'm like, is there an accident? Is there traffic? And no, there's no. The road is empty. Everybody's slowing down to take a look at the waves.
Oh,
And there must have been at least a half a dozen people that had pulled over into, they have those turnouts for if there's an accident or whatever. There must have been a half a dozen people that had pulled out to take pictures.
Gaper's Block.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was kind
Well, were the waves great?
Huh?
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay.
We're live.
Were the waves that big? Were they incredible?
Well, I mean, it was impressive, but it's like, really? I don't know. I mean, it just seemed kind of.
I was gonna say those are the kind that come crashing up over Lakeshore Drive, but it seems to happen more on the north side than the south side, though.
Yeah. Well, part of that is because when you're going around the curves there at Oak Street, the lake is right there. When you go down to the south side, there's actually.
Yeah, it seems like it's more up toward Diversey where it happens, but I could be wrong. But it seems like it's more around Diversey, like at the entrance to the harbor and stuff. But
well, I mean, I'm talking down on like East Lakeshore Drive, where the Drake is. I'm talking there.
But that has the breakwaters around that, so I don't know if they still get.
Yeah, what do they call that? The playpen or something? But no, yeah.
Well, yeah.
But you get outside the playpen there where those breakwaters are, and well, then there's the beach, of course. But right there at the corner, I mean, the road was wet. The waves were coming up over the road. I mean, feels more. It hasn't been a very nice October. We had a week of nice weather, I think. October weather, but the beginning of October it was cool but humid. It was like 90% humidity, and now it feels more like November than it does October with these winds and everything. I don't know, whatever, crazy. Yeah. Crazy. So this weekend we went to our first live concert. Live in person.
At church, you mean?
At our church, right?
That's very misleading. Talking about going to your first live.
Well, concert, I don't mean a rock. I don't mean a rock concert. I don't do rock concerts. I know nothing.
As West, well, was she out at Northerly Island? Was she?
Yeah, I know.
No, she was in church.
I was in church. I sing in the church choir, and the woman who sits next to me, a fellow alto, she plays in a clarinet quartet. They call themselves the Lake Effect Clarinet Quartet. They are so clever and really good. They're very talented. They've been playing together for about 10 years, it sounded like. And they all met as students at DePaul. They're music students that graduated from DePaul. I personally graduated from Roosevelt, Chicago Musical College is my degree. So they're kind of not really a competitor because they're not in the music, but
rivalry.
A rival music school. But anyway, they all met in music school and started playing together when they were still in school and have stayed together ever since. And
the Roosevelt Music College arch nemesis.
Well, when I was at Roosevelt, it was called Chicago Musical College, but I think about 15 years ago or so, they changed the name of it from Chicago Musical College, which was a very venerable music school. And it was, the dean was Rudolph Gans was the dean. And then when he retired or passed on or whatever happened to him, his nephew, Felix Gans, took over as the dean of the music school, and it had quite a sterling reputation. And Roosevelt actually purchased them, and they took it over, but they kept the name Chicago Musical College because it had such a world-renowned reputation. And Felix Gans was the dean when I was there, and he passed away maybe 15, 20 years ago. But in addition to being a musician, he was also a world-renowned philatelist, stamp collector. Anyway, he was quite a character. But they changed the name of the school. It's now called.
It was a wild and crazy bunch.
Yeah, not. Not.
Were you studying music when you went to University of Chicago also?
No, I didn't. I left the University of Chicago and went to Roosevelt to go to music school. But
what were you planning to study at U of C?
I had actually planned to major in Spanish.
Oh.
But, I got down there, and here was the problem. I didn't quite fit in because Friday night I'm trying to arrange a trip to Greektown, because in those days they didn't card. You could go to Greektown on Halsted Street over there, Halsted and Madison over there. And as an 18-year-old, if you wanted to drink, the Greeks didn't have any problem with that. So that was the place to go when you were 18, 19 years old and wanted to drink, was to Greektown. So come Friday night, I'm like trying to arrange the troops, because, this is so typical of me, right? To say, hey, let's go to Greektown. Come on, it's Friday night. Let's go party. And the UC response was, a prototypical UC student response was, oh no, I have a French test on Monday. I have to stay home and study. I'm like, that's Monday.
So you were the wild one.
I was the wild
That's
one.
really hard to imagine.
I was the wild one.
You were the wild and crazy one.
I did not fit in with the UC profile.
Yeah.
So anyway,
well, you got out and got into the.
I got out. I took a gap year. Actually, I took a gap year, and I went to work. And my first job was as a clerk typist, entry level clerk typist at Aetna Life and Casualty. I worked in the claim department. And
at MetLife.
Aetna.
Oh, Aetna.
At their offices were located at 230 West Monroe. Now I'm really disclosing how old I am, because I was working there as they were building the Sears Tower. Now the tower formerly known as Sears.
I told you I saw that. I think it was a T-shirt that had Chicago pronunciations on it, and it had different things in the way, with the Chicago accent.
Right.
And they had it like phonetically, like in a dictionary, like a phonetical pronunciation. And, especially for like, roof, like the roof instead of the roof, and legs and eggs and, that kind of stuff. But the one was Willis Tower, and the phonetic pronunciation was Sears Tower.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think
guaranteed rate
Marshall Fields. Yeah,
guaranteed rate field. The phonetic pronunciation is Comiskey Park.
Yeah. or more incorrectly, Kaminsky Park.
Oh, Kaminsky. And Macy's is Marshall Fields, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
Change comes hard to the Midwest.
Yeah. We're stubborn Chicagoans.
Yeah. So what did you do this week? So I went to my first live concert. There were probably 8 people in church, and it was very exciting. 8. Yeah. Well, they streamed it too, actually. So if there was so
there were another 8 watching.
What? Yeah, probably.
So there were another 8 online watching.
I don't know. I have no idea. How would I know? How would one know? Hopefully they know. But anyway, so if you go to their website, you can actually click on it and hear the concert. And they Erin, who's the alto that sits in the choir with me, she actually did all the arrangements herself, and very, very clever. She did with Bernstein. They actually did some Scott Joplin, which was very fun, and they ended up the concert with Danse Macabre by Saint-Saëns.
It
Anyway,
sounds wild.
yeah, well, for Halloween, it was a Halloween thing. So,
Well,
yeah,
speaking of that, does I assume that they're not doing the Christmas concert again this year. Is that correct?
they're not. What they're doing is we are doing. No, we're not doing the full blown concert. We're just doing a lessons and carols service on December 12th
Oh, okay.
during a regular church service.
Because
So
that concert is usually very impressive that you guys do. Who is it? The Lakeview Chamber Orchestra that you do
yeah,
that
the
with?
Lakeview Orchestra would always we'd get musicians from the Lakeview Orchestra to come and perform for us.
Quite a few of them. From what
Yeah, I mean, it's quite an orchestra, probably what, maybe 20 kids? Well, they're not kids, but 20
yeah, I
people.
would say they're adults.
Yeah, they're not kids, but
Kids to you maybe, but they're adults.
me who watched Sears Tower going up.
Yeah. I don't even know. It seemed like a lot of them were close to our age, if not as old as we were. But
Yeah, no. I mean, no, they're actually quite a good orchestra, I think, in terms
yeah,
of being community and volunteer, and people who are definitely passionate about, what do you do when you have a degree in music? You go sell real estate.
maybe
Anyway.
if you'd gotten that degree in Spanish, you'd be selling real estate in Spanish.
Yeah, well, I don't know, right? Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. The funny thing about that is that I was never fluent in terms of speaking, but even to this day, I can read it pretty well.
Yeah. Well, you
And
spent that time in Panama, right? Growing
right,
up.
and when I'm on showings and people are speaking, I can understand enough to at least know what they're talking about. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't get all of it, but
That's how I am kind of about music. I was in band, playing the trumpet in like fifth grade. I think fifth, maybe sixth. I can't even remember. But the one thing I got out of it was I can read music for the most part. I can read music, and I'm glad I had just that experience. Just that stuck with me. I played a little bit of piano when I was in college, just because in my fraternity house we had a grand piano in the living room, and I had access to it. And like I said, I already knew how to read music, so I got one of the little sisters to our fraternity was a music major, and I paid her to give me lessons, a couple times a week. So I got to where I could, not play well, but I knew how to, yeah, I became familiar with the piano. I'll just put it that way. I wish I'd taken it further, but yeah, I was glad just to have that little bit of music training when I was young that kind of sticks with you. So,
well,
and understand music a little better.
yeah, well, it's a great discipline, and I mean, for many years, I guess I kind of felt badly that I had this degree and wasn't utilizing it, but now in my advanced age, I'm really glad that I took the opportunity to do it when I could, because life happens, and when would I have ever had a chance to do that? Never.
Well, it's like anything with the liberal arts, though. I mean, it's still a life skill, and you're learning how to learn, and you're learning how to think, and it's like the critical thinking sort of thing that we've gotten away from, I think, in higher education, that it's about teaching people to learn how to think and how to learn, and then they can take those skills and apply them to anything,
Right.
and especially that kind of focus, especially with music, the idea of being able to, the focus that's required and the focus that you learn. I mean, you can then learn to focus and on anything, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, I think it would be a great education, even if you don't
No, yeah,
use it in music.
well, there's been all kinds of studies about parts of the brain that are, I don't know, engaged in when you're involved in music and singing and reading music and things like that. That it that it engages parts of the brain that otherwise aren't. So it's a whole brain activity, and definitely good for us,
Yeah.
and a wonderful discipline. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
So what did you do this weekend?
Uh, Not a whole lot. We did. We went to see Stump's dad with some other family members that were going to be down there, so we took advantage of that. And we went to a great little vegan restaurant. We picked up food from to take to his house though down in Orland called Vegan Teas, T'_EASE, and they have what the Chicago Vegan Facebook group says is the best fried chicken in Chicago, and I think it was. It was really good. So we took that to his dad's, and then I had did some batch cooking yesterday here at the house. So ready for the week.
So what is it called again? Vegan what?
Teas. The woman's name is T, but it's called Teas. T instead of T'_S, it's T'_EASE, like tease. Like
Oh,
you're teasing
right, right,
real
right,
food
right,
that's
right.
actually
Well,
vegan.
that's clever. That's a clever.
Yeah.
That's a
And
clever.
it was really fun. She was really fun. They put on a little show for us, and they were,
Great. What kind of a
had
show?
songs they sang, and a guy opens the door from the kitchen and tips his hat and does like a whole, yeah, it was really fun. They gave us hats.
Oh, how
Yeah, so,
fun!
yeah. But
Wow,
yeah, it was a great experience.
Orland Park, huh?
Right? Yeah, in Orland Park, and she's classically trained from Cordon Bleu, and she's like, her family's from New Orleans, so she's like got this great, cooking background. She owns the place. She's African American, so it's woman black owned, and she's got this great kind of soul food sort of background, and it was really, yeah, it's great.
So vegan fried chicken. What is that? Tofu?
I don't even know. Like, uh, yeah, it's not like any other kind of vegan chicken I've had before.
Huh.
It's the most like chicken. It was like eating a fried, like a Kentucky Fried Chicken thigh without the bone.
Well, I'm not. I have to admit that eating chicken is not my idea of a good time, but it tends to be dried out and whatever. But anyway, we went out for brunch after church yesterday to Uncommon Ground, and they had a vegan. They called it vegan hash, and it had a, chorizo seitan in it. It was sweet potatoes and Yukon Gold potatoes and these tiny little pearl onions and mushrooms, and it was
That
delicious.
sounds good.
Yeah,
I made a big batch of mushroom bolognese yesterday to freeze and have. We had it for dinner last night, but made enough to have some portions to take down to the apartment, and
nice.
and one for you.
So my $1.2 million listing over in Lincoln Square, that I've had very little activity on.
That was a great segue, by the way.
Yeah, well, I thought we should talk a little bit about real estate, shouldn't we?
It's a little late for that.
A little late for that, but the interesting thing is he gave it to Sarah Superfine, who we all used to work together back in the 90s at Belliard Gordon, and she was the rental agent, and
Still the best real estate name ever.
Yeah, Superfine, right? Yeah,
Sarah Superfine.
Yeah, Sarah Superfine, and she's been a rental agent since before most of us even knew what that was. But she always used to handle all the rentals for Belliard Gordon, and I introduced Rick had some property. My client Rick, who I've known since the late '80s, had some properties that he wanted rented, and so I introduced him to Sarah, and he's used her ever since. But anyway, so she put Leland on the market for rent, and she's had just a ton of activity over there. And I think in the last month I've had maybe half a dozen showings. I mean, it's been really slow. So it kind of makes me wonder if the market's moving more into a rental market versus a purchase.
Well, the rental market's been strong all year. Yeah, so
Oh, then
that
downtown too is
yeah, the by the end of the spring, because the rental market had died downtown, last year
right.
during COVID, but then it came back with a vengeance in the spring. And by the end of the spring, the rental prices were already higher than they were pre-COVID, and everything was like leased up. So
Wow.
yeah,
Huh.
the condos were lagging, and the rental condos were lagging a little because there was a lot of them to get absorbed, that didn't sell and
Mhm.
that rented out. But the rental buildings, the managed rental buildings, like just blew it out. Yeah, they've done really well.
Yeah. Well, it looks like she's going to have it rented for me, so I won't be selling it. Boo hoo, but oh well.
Yeah,
We'll see
keep them
what
happy.
yeah, yeah, so we'll see what happens, and hopefully when these tenants move out, he'll be in a better position to sell it, but who knows, so anyway, I think we're coming up on 25 minutes, so I think we should probably call that a wrap, and we'll be back next week with our same blather and baloney and and maybe next week will be a little bit more real estate focused, but this week, of course, it's Halloween and
Who cares?
yeah, who cares? We care. We love real estate.
I mean, they don't care.
Well, hopefully they care. They wouldn't be listening to us, would they?
They'll listen to us because they love us.
All right. Well, anyway, if we can help you with any of your real estate needs, we do that too on the side. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat. We'll obviously respond to you as soon as we can. So otherwise, have a good week. I hope the weather clears up and we can get some final days of October that actually feel more like October than November. But I guess time will tell, right?
All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye for now.